Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is why you should not make cinnamon rolls or any baked goods out of your yeast infection. I just want to do some damage control because I know I came on here and said I made cinnamon rolls out of my yeast infection and they turned out really good, and they did. They tasted really good, but we consumed them, and 2 days later these white spots start popping up on mine and my husband's tongue, and I'm Googling what that means, and it says it's oral thrush, which is essentially a yeast infection for your mouth, and the reason we have it is because we consumed my yeast infection. So what I thought was a very special Valentine's gift, truly a pastry made with love from things that came from my body, turned out to be the present of oral thrush. And it's not fun having it. It's not the most comfortable thing to live with. It's kind of painful, and I just feel so bad for giving it to my husband. And I'm thinking I need to make it up to him in some way. Now, I would make a pastry out of my breast milk again, but the yeast is just not worth it. Just go buy yeast from the grocery store. And if you want to, you can just lie and say it is your yeast infection that's in it, but it's definitely not worth it. Anyway, I just wanted to come on here because I felt obligated to do that damage control because I know a lot of you look up to me and are influenced by me, and we're thinking about trying that just because I did, but don't do it. I made cinnamon rolls out of my yeast infection, and I have to say, they turned out pretty damn good. These are actually what I gave my husband for Valentine's Day. It's cinnamon rolls made from not only the yeast from my yeast infection, but also my breast milk. So it's like really natural. And when he tried it, he noticed immediately that they tasted a little different than they normally do when I make him cinnamon rolls. And he was like, "What did you do differently? It's really good." And I said, actually, it was my yeast infection and breast milk, you know? One thing I will say is they taste like, almost like sourdough. Like they're a little more sour than like a normal cinnamon roll would be. And I think that's due to it being like yeast from my body. But overall, I mean, they're good. He liked them. He did say they were different, but like, not in a bad way.
Edomites are fucking dirty as all hell. Without further ado, let's take all on you. How about you, Yasharahla, Hakadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders, and millstone pieces, citation, hope for elect, Shalom. And Lord willing, I'll come up with a title for this lesson, because, wow, I'm sure as hell am disturbed to just see that an Edomite. Well, the thing is that this is well expected of Esau, but it's just like when you actually see their nature and you have to see that they will go on social media and expose the shit that they do. We're talking about like the filthy shit that they do, you know, and they do it like it's normal, like there's nothing wrong with it. You see, this is the reason why you Edomites aren't fit out to be rulers at all, you know, and this is why scriptures will refer to you as the children of fools, you know, children of base men. And the first precept that comes to mind is Job chapter 30. It says on verse 1, "And now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock." Yeah, because even Job, you know, he saw these Edomites and he was like, he wouldn't even want them around his dogs. And it says, and skip to verse 3, "For want and famine they were solitary fleeing to the wilderness at former time, desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men, they cried after them as after a thief." Yeah, because at a certain point in time, it's like, you know, they were outcasted, you know, because they were living like cavemen while everybody else was civilized. Because what the Most High did was, at a certain point in time in history, he put that spirit on Esau to be like a caveman, and that was the curse, you know, for the serpent in the garden, for having Eve to go off and follow false philosophies. But that's a topic for another lesson, and I believe I pretty much got into that in one of those breakdowns. I don't know if I taught it, but if not, I'll do a separate lesson on that. And verse 6, it says, "To dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in the caves of the earth and in the rocks. So that's really throwing subs that, this is talking about Esau, because they're considered to be the cavemen, and they want to act like everybody came from caves. When you look at ancient Rome and ancient Greece, their rulership, when you see a lot of the buildings that they have, a lot of their landscape and the architecture of the way they design their buildings and things of that nature is almost similar to a caveman's habitation. You see, and that goes to show you right there that Esau, is proven that he's a caveman in the spirit. And then there's nothing new under the sun, as it says in Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. So verse 7 says, among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. And now am I their song? I am their byword. Because the thing is that when it's coming to Esau, you see, the good, beautiful thing about social media is that you have these dumbasses out here that literally expose themselves in the things that they do. You even have the spirit on people to expose the crimes that they do, and that pretty much leaves the whole investigation to be faster than usual, because at one point in time, before social media started to advance, it was harder to solve crimes. It was harder to do certain things, because now social media, now you got a lot of people out there that just openly expose themselves. Even people like that Edomite bitch exposing the filthy shit that she did, and the fact that her husband seemed like he was okay with the whole idea of her making some food out of her yeast infection, which is a cinnamon roll, instead of buying yeast, which is cheap to buy yeast. But instead, no, she wanted to take things to the next level and want to make something out of a yeast infection. And on top of that, she used her breast milk as well. And you see, one thing about the breast milk thing is of course that's supposed to be used if you have children, because it's natural. But a whole yeast infection, that's completely filthy and unsanitary. So that goes to show you right there that Esau has a nature that, through the spirit, is viler than the earth. And I had to put that little viewer discretion advisor out there in the beginning of the video, because I find that to be completely disturbing, And but hey man, when you see Esau, this is the stuff that you have to expect. This is another precept I want to bring out through the spirit. So pretty much goes along with the fact that how when it's coming to the nation of our people, a lot of them are pretty much rebellious of all time, especially when it's coming to 2/3 of our people. And this is in Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 21, because this is also a curse that how the Most High was going to send for these Edomites, which are basically the heathens that are ruling the world to this day, known as the wicked. The so-called white man, which is Esau. He started to basically be in rulership, and eventually it was already prophesied that was going to happen anyway. And in Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 21, this is going into the curse of the nation of our people for provoking the Most High by serving false idols and making sacrifices unto strange gods. And it says in verse 21 of Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 21, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not Yahweh. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. I mean, when you look at all the heathens, they got a lot of dumb customs, but out of all heathens, Esau is the dumbest one of all, and you can already see that one of the dumbest things that Esau does to this day is the fact that he pretty much highlights having fair skin, which is basically, that's the knowledge of this world. Everybody and their moms wish they were fair skinned. Everybody want to be light skinned. nobody wants to be dark skinned. Everybody talks shit about being dark skinned, and a lot of people, they tend to look at it like being dark skinned is a bad thing. You can even hear it when they say how you got darker as compared to, oh, you got lighter. You could see the difference in how people, say it. Like, how people make, dark skin, they try to make that seem like that's a symbol of, of a bad thing. Like, that's a sign for, when you get the point. And then basically, a lot of people don't really understand that when it's coming to Esau and a lot of the shit that he promotes, he has everything upside down. And, the Lord already mentioned, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in Isaiah the 29th chapter, that how you're turning your things upside down shall be esteemed as potter's clay. So, everything this devil Esau does, like, that's upside down. But the feminism, putting women above men, making women equal to men, that whole shit, like, it goes to show you that this devil really needs to not be in rulership, And then I won't be surprised if you have stupid women just like this. At this point, when it's coming to even the nation of our people, sometimes they even surpass Esau's wickedness. So who knows if you got some of our people probably doing some weird freak shit with their bodily discharge or whatever the case is. Because scriptures also mention how the ways of the wicked seduce the righteous, So, and I believe that is mentioned in the book of Proverbs, if I'm not mistaken. But, so you got to really have a, expectation that because of this devil Esau and rulership, he's not only messing up things in our society, like our, food quality, our air quality, the quality of the water and the things that we drink and consume, basically the stuff that we ingest on a daily basis. Like, you gotta also understand that this devil Esau is a wicked influencer, and he's a trendsetter for wickedness, to the point where our people are influenced by it. This is why this devil has got to go, because like it tells you in Matthew 24th chapter, no flesh shall be saved if this devil was to continue to rule, and if your house try to take this devil out of rulership, and I mean, hey man, I know Apostle Ricard always be preaching like, get you a white woman and this and that and the third, but even with the heathen woman, you gotta be careful, because you saw how her tongue looked. And that was because of the shit that she was eating. When it's coming to these heathens, a lot of them are very filthy. And this is the reason why they're going to have to be in captivity. Because we're going to have to beat a lot of their ways out of them, especially these Edomites. And I feel like these Edomites are going to have it the worst because they're just naturally rebellious. It's just in their spirit to be rebellious. Like, they have an urge to do it because they're considered to be the children of the wicked. And that's how the Most High programmed them. Because scripture said what? In Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4, that the spirit is not upright in him. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. So, you already know that Esau is just, it's in his spirit to be a backwards man, to do everything contrary to what the scriptures promote, because the scriptures promote life, and what Esau does, he influences everything opposite to life. And there's another precept, another roughly paraphrase, but it also goes into how, like, you know, the Ethiopian can't change his skin, and neither the leopard his spots. You know, it also mentions about how, you know, it's the same way. It just says those that are accustomed to do evil, and that's Esau. You know, they're accustomed to be wicked because that's what they are. They're considered to be the wicked. So the Most High programmed them to be this way. You know, and then another thing too. Before I close out, I also want to mention this valid point about how this is another great reason why it's good to always pray. You know, even before you eat your food and before you do almost anything, it's always good to always just throw out a little prayer. You don't really always got to go on your knees all the time and make a long prayer. Just make it straight to the point, you know, because, you know, you got people like this that shit, you know, Yahweh forbid if they have this type of mind state in their job and they decide to serve any customers, you know, especially like a woman working in a job or so, like in a bakery. And I believe there was a post on social media about how there was a woman that was actually, you know, in the bakery using her yeast infection to, you know, to cook with the yeast or whatever the case is, to make bread or some shit out of it, or some shit. But it was a while back. I saw that some shit, like some post like that. I think it was like 2 years ago, a year, some shit. That shit is crazy. You got all type of crazy people out here. And one thing on social media is that, you know, a lot of these people be getting influences just to do shit like that, to be seduced to doing some crazy shit just like that, or worse. So this is why you always gotta pray, because you don't know what type of spirit could hop on somebody to do something like that. Even if, God forbid, Yahweh forbid, if it happens on your woman to do some shit like this, you know, because you already know through the spirit these women are led by Satan, and they do whatever makes them feel good. There's a whole thing that women do. It's called like fabbing. Pretty much forget what they will touch their I think they will use something with their bodily discharge, and they will try to, like, you know, put it on their, you know, tap it on their face or whatever the case is. And then you even have reported to where a woman will go as far as, like, you know, doing some type of freak shit, selling their perfumes with a portion of their discharge on it. It's all type of madness, man, you know. But that's why it's always just as good to stay prayed up, because you don't know what type of demon can hop on somebody, and then you actually end up dealing with that person, and they end up doing some crazy shit in your life. But with that, I'd like to say, Shalom.